What's up, guys? Welcome back to another review, and this time I'm going to be covering one of my all-time favorite werewolf movies. That'll be An American Werewolf in London, written and directed by John Landis and starring David Naughton, Griffin Dunne, and Jenny Agutter, with special makeup effects by Rick motherfucking Baker. Okay, I'm going to make this very short because I could talk forever about American Werewolf in London. I fucking love this movie. Like I said before, this to me is one of the best werewolf movies ever made. John Landis, to me, is a very, very underrated filmmaker. In my opinion, he's one of the best comedy directors. You know, I love Blues Brothers, Trading Places, Coming to America are classics, and but this is where he steps into the realm of horror, and he does it exceptionally well. He still mixes in comedy here and there, and I know, like, when this movie was first made, the tone was very polarizing to a lot of people, but to me, this movie is a straight-up horror movie, but it does have comedic elements to it, to streamline it and make it, you know, and I think he does it fairly well. He mixes up the horror and comedy really well, because a lot of the comedy comes from the characters. It doesn't come from when the character of David is in werewolf mode. It comes from the surrounding characters. You know, it comes when, you know, David and his friend Jack are bantering with one another and just acting like friends. And I want to say that the chemistry between Griffin Dunne and David Naughton, to me, is very genuine. They play off extremely well with each other. I buy the fact that they're best friends, and I completely buy when David is upset and heartbroken when he finds out that his friend Jack was completely molded by this werewolf while they're walking on the moors. You know, stick to the road, stay away from the moors. If they would have stayed to the road, they would not have gotten attacked. So I love all that stuff. I love the atmosphere this movie has. This movie has a gloomy atmosphere, and, you know, having it take place in England, like this country of England, and like how it's all gray. It just feels like it's very cold all the time. Perfect. Especially the opening scene when they're in East Proctor, and I love the whole thing of East Proctor. I like how the town villagers are very superstitious when they go into this bar called the Slaughtered Lamb, and it's a very intense environment that they're in, because, you know, to these people, they're outsiders and they don't understand what they go through because they're superstitious and they believe the werewolves are real. So I like all that, and that opening couple of minutes done very, very well. I also, like I said, I love that first wolf attack, and I love how it builds and builds and builds, and just when you think it's not going to happen, boom, it gets you, and the wolf kills Jack. It attacks David. And I love how it was done with no music. To me, the scene is so effective without music, because it has a more realistic feel to it. It has a more brutal feel to it when you don't have music playing. I love it. I love it. I also love the dream sequences that David has after he's bitten by the wolf. How it shows that he's like losing his mind and going crazy. I love all that stuff. I also, like I said, the makeup effects by Rick Baker is outstanding. If you pay attention, like when David's in the hospital, right, you actually can see like the makeup of the wolf claws on his above his chest over here, and the claw on his face. Like on Blu-ray, it pops out and it looks fantastic. But I like those little subtleties of makeup. I also like the chemistry between David Naughton and Jenny Agutter. I like the whole budding romance that goes between the two. It doesn't feel forced. It feels a little natural to me. You know, Jenny Agutter has the Florence Nightingale effect, where she's supposed to fall in love with one of her patients, which I thought was pretty cool. Of course, she's falling in love with someone who is a werewolf, and in his mind is going completely nutso because of that. I love how when Joe comes back as a ghost, you know, as one of the undead. I'm sorry, and he's hilarious, and the makeup effects on Griffin Dunne when he's one of the undead is spectacular. That first appearance you see is brutal to look at. Like, he's all slashed. You can see the meat and the bones and the muscle all exposed, and that this little piece of wiggling skin above his neck. It looks gory, fantastic. I love it so much. Rick Baker, one of my favorite makeup artists. The man does realistic makeup, and he's a talent, and he deserves all the Academy Awards that he's won over his career, because to me, there's no one better. Of course, then we get to the first werewolf transformation, which I love. And I love the soundtrack in this movie, because every song in this movie has the word moon in it. It's great. But in this rendition, we have, I think, Sam Cooke's version of Blue Moon playing while David's transforming into the wolf, and it looks so painful. John Landis did an amazing job of making the transformation look so painful. He equated it to as getting an erection for the first time. Like these things are happening to you. You don't know what's happening, and it hurts. And just seeing like his bones and muscles just stretch in an unnatural way. You look at it and you're just like cringing, because you're just like, ugh. And I like how he does not show the wolf when he first transforms. He does these quick flashes, but you never see the wolf. And I thought that was great. I thought that was really, really great, because it really adds the suspense. Especially in this one scene where he's chasing this guy down the subway, and it's just a POV shot, and it looks fucking awesome. And then, of course, also during that scene, the guy goes on an escalator, and as the escalator's rising up, you see this wolf slowly walk, and it's a puppet, but it's so effective and so creepy. I love it, love it, love it. And I also love the makeup. Like I said, going back to Griffin Dunn's makeup, I also like how every time you see Griffin Dunn, you see his makeup slowly start change over time. Like he starts to decay. So when you see him for the final time, his skeleton's exposed, and it's a great look. It's a great makeup. And now we get to the end. And at the end of the movie, when in Piccadilly Circus, all the shit hits the fan. Then you really get to see the wolf up close, and it looks beautiful. It looks ferocious, and I love it, love it, love it, love it. And of course, I love the end of this movie as well, which I thought was, the movie ended the way it has to end, in tragedy. When we first see this movie, by the end of this movie, both our two main guys that we followed, which were Jack and David, they are dead by the end of this movie. Griffin dies, of course, in the first 10 minutes, but David dies at the end. He gets shot, and the curse is lifted. And I love how this movie does not end on a happy note, because to me, I don't want to see a happy ending. He's a werewolf. He has to die, and I love it how it ends on a gloomy note. And I love how Janie Agger's character Alex is the one that's there when he dies, because like I said, throughout the movie they developed a very, very good romance with one another, and they had and they were starting to feel genuine emotion and love for one another. So seeing her just heartbroken, I've seen David pretty much being forced to see David die, and as the only way to save him. Loved it. Love it, love it, love it. So yeah, this movie to me is a 10 out of 10. I love An American Werewolf in London. If you have not seen this movie, watch it. You owe it to yourself to watch a damn good werewolf movie that has good comedy, amazing practical makeup effects, and a very distinct and cool looking werewolf. And of course, really good acting all across the board, and solid suspenseful atmosphere by John Landis. Well, anyway, my name is AJ Lesh. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.